You have this weird feeling that you are doing everything right and still not getting anywhere. The paycheck comes in, the bills go out, and your bank balance seems to hit reset every single month. You are not lazy. You are not crazy. You are just stuck on a level almost nobody ever explained. Most people learn how to earn money, but not how to actually climb the wealth ladder. Here is the most important idea for today. More money does not always unlock more freedom if you are stuck on level 3 of a 7-level game. I am Cowboy Dan, and in this video, we are breaking down what each wealth level feels like and exactly how to climb beyond just getting by. And yes, I got rid of my beard and have become fatter. You will learn where you stand now, why 99% of people stay stuck, and what specific move bumps you up a whole level. If you are ready for money advice that actually works, hit subscribe so you never miss a step in this series. Level 1 is survival mode, where there is never enough left at the end of the month. You juggle late bill notices, small repairs, and hope nothing really big goes wrong, because one emergency wipes everything out. Most people at level 1 scrape by with the help of credit cards or payday loans. No cushion and no real savings. I remember my own rookie years, rinsing ramen cups for a second use, dodging calls from landlords, swapping cheap meals for microwave leftovers. Long-term plans fade when it is hard to even think past Friday. Exhaustion is constant, and every decision feels urgent. Statistically, almost 40% of Americans have less than $1,000 for emergencies, and most will experience at least one financial shock every year. You will break free by building a simple budget, tracking every dollar, and creating even a tiny buffer for the next surprise, because survival mode is a level, not a life sentence. Level 2 is stability. Your bills are covered most months, and the files are smaller but still frequent. You finally breathe between paychecks, but one medium surprise can still knock you back to zero. What changes here is control. You start telling your money where to go instead of asking where it went. A basic emergency fund equals 1 month of core expenses: rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation, built slowly and automatically. Behavior beats income at this level. Automate bill pay, automate savings, and set a weekly 10-minute money check-in to spot leaks before they grow. Keep the card balances trending down. Even $50 a week matters, and lock lifestyle creep by capping variable spending with a simple allowance. A quick gut check for stability is this: could you handle a $500 problem without debt? And can you stay current if a paycheck arrives 2 days late? If the honest answer is almost, you are ready to push for level 3 without slipping back into survival. Level 3 feels comfortable, bills paid on time, some savings, and you can handle most surprises. Income covers lifestyle, car payment, eating out, vacations, but your net worth barely moves year after year. This is where 99% stay stuck, thinking comfort equals wealth, when it is really just a prettier cage. I lived here for years. Nice apartment, new truck, weekend golf, zero financial momentum. The psychology shift is huge. You stop seeing money as a problem to solve and start seeing it as a tool to deploy. Before level 3, money owns you. After level 3, you own the money and tell it where to build your future. Which comment below matches your level 3 story? Nice stuff but no real progress, or already past it? Drop that in the comments so I know where to spend more time helping you climb. Level 4 is real security, where money problems stop being constant emergencies and start becoming projects you can plan for. Your fixed bills are covered, you have a few months of expenses saved, and you no longer flinch every time your phone buzzes with a bank alert. At this level, your net worth finally moves in the right direction, slowly but clearly, because you own more stuff that grows than stuff that drains you. Think 3 to 6 months of core expenses in cash, high interest debt mostly gone, and at least one solid investment account getting regular contributions. The mindset here shifts from how do I survive this month to how do I make next year easier than this one? You start asking, what can I automate? What can I cancel? And what can I build that keeps paying me even if I take a hit at work? If you are somewhere between stability and security right now, comment which piece you already have: emergency fund, low debt, or steady investing. That one word tells me exactly what videos to make next to help you climb faster. Level 5 is flexibility, where you finally buy back something more valuable than any car or gadget: your time. At this stage, a year of expenses and savings and investments is realistic, and you could take a break from work without your whole life falling apart. Here the big shift is from "I have to keep this job" to "I choose whether this job still fits my life." You start turning down toxic bosses, awful clients, and bad offers, because you are not negotiating from panic anymore, you are negotiating from strength. Practically, that might look like 12 months of lean expenses covered, no high-interest debt, and investments throwing off a meaningful chunk of your monthly costs. You are still working, but the job is no longer your only oxygen tank. It is one of several income streams that you control. Ask yourself, if your boss walked in tomorrow with a ridiculous demand, could you walk away and be okay for a year? If the honest answer is almost, you are right on the edge of level 5, and it is time to lean into skills, side income, and smarter investing to push you over the line. Level 6 is true financial independence. Work is now a choice, not a requirement to keep the lights on. Your investments and other income streams can cover your basic lifestyle, even if your main job disappeared tomorrow. At this point, people often move into part-time work, passion projects, or consulting because they like the game, not because they are terrified of missing a paycheck. You can redesign your calendar: fewer meetings you hate, more time with family, health, and things that actually matter to you. The numbers look different for everyone, but a common pattern is investment income, covering at least your lean yearly expenses, with extra margin and cash for surprises. You watch your withdrawal rate, usually under 4% of your invested assets per year, and you keep growing skills so the option to earn more is always on the table. Ask yourself, if you stop taking new work for the next 3 years, could you live a simpler version of your current life without debt or panic? If that picture feels close, you are brushing up against true independence, and the next move is tightening expenses a bit and boosting those ownership assets so the math locks in your freedom. Level 7 is abundance, where money stops being the main character in your life and becomes background support for what you actually care about. Your investments do more than cover a basic lifestyle. They fund generosity, big experiences, and long-term projects without you stressing every price tag. Here, the question changes from "Can I afford this?" "Does this align with my values and the future I am building?" Choose a modest or comfortable lifestyle on purpose, not to impress strangers, but to keep your freedom and sleep at night. Practically, this often means multiple paid-off assets, strong diversified investments, no toxic debt, and more income coming in than you reasonably spend. You start thinking legacy. What happens to your family, your community, and your causes if you are not here, and how your money keeps working for good. Ask yourself, if your basic needs, fun money, and giving budget were all covered forever, what would you actually spend your days doing? Write that answer down, because that picture is your personal definition of level 7, and every move from this point forward should nudge you closer to living that life on purpose, not by accident. This is the identity shift that gets you unstuck from level 3. You stop calling yourself someone who is bad with money and start acting like an owner. Owners track, owners choose, owners tolerate boredom for a while so the math can work in their favor. Your new rule is simple: buy fewer things that impress strangers, buy more things that pay you back. That means moving money from conveniences that fade into assets that quietly grow, even when you are asleep. Give yourself one measurable habit for the next 30 days: daily expense tracking, weekly money check-in, and an automatic transfer that happens no matter how busy you are. If you can do those 3 consistently, you will feel the floor under your feet get stronger before the month ends. Quick favor, in the comments type which habit you are locking in first: tracking, weekly check-in, or auto transfer. That one word helps set up the next section where we turn habits into a simple, repeatable system. Here's a simple system that turns habits into automatic progress. Track daily, review weekly, and automate monthly. Daily tracking keeps you honest. The weekly check-in fixes small leaks. And the monthly automation moves money where it needs to go without you thinking about it. Your weekly check-in is just 3 quick questions. What did I spend? What did I save? And what will I change next week? Your monthly automation is 3 moves. Pay yourself first to savings and investments. Pay fixed bills on autopay and sweep leftover cash toward debt or your next goal. Use easy numbers so the math never scares you off. For example, 10% to savings, 10% to investing, and any extra toward debt until it is gone. If those exact percentages do not fit yet, start with 5% each and step them up 1% per month until you hit your targets. Drop system. In the comments if you want a printable checklist for this routine daily, weekly, monthly. In the next section, you will see the big levers that jump you a full level faster than cutting coffee ever could. Now, let us talk about the big levers that actually move you up a whole level: income, housing, and debt, not skipping lattes. Every serious personal finance study shows the same pattern. Most of your long-term cash flow is decided by what you earn, where you live, and how much you owe, not by tiny lifestyle trims. On the income side, your job and skills are the engine. A 5 or 10% raise hits harder than almost any coupon strategy. That means learning how to negotiate, switching to higher-paying roles in your field, or building a simple side income that adds a few $100s a month without burning you out. Housing is usually your single biggest expense, so getting this right can save more than cutting a dozen small categories combined. If you can safely lower rent or mortgage costs by even 10 to 15%, house hack, move closer to work, or refinance expensive debt, you free up permanent fuel to climb levels faster. Debt is the third lever, especially anything with high interest, because every dollar of interest is a tax on your future options. List your debts, attack the highest interest first or the smallest balance for quick wins, and promise yourself you will never again take on payments that lock you into a job you hate. Up to this point, you have seen how each level feels, from pure survival to real abundance, and you probably recognize pieces of your own story in there. That is the whole point. Once you can name your level, you can stop feeling bad with money and start treating it like a game you can actually win. Here is what most people never do. They keep consuming random tips instead of following one clear path all the way up the ladder. Your path is simple now. Stabilize level 1 and 2. Break out of the comfort trap at level 3. Then use the big levers, income, housing, and debt, to push into security and flexibility. From there, independence and abundance stop being dreams and start being math problems. Time, plus gap, plus ownership assets. You do not need perfection. You need a slightly bigger gap each year and the discipline to keep buying assets instead of more toys. If you want someone in your corner constantly breaking this down in plain English, hit subscribe so you do not drift back into level 3 with everybody else. Stick with me, because in the next sections, we are going to walk through the most common ways people fall back down the ladder and how to spot those traps before they grab you. At some point, the levels stop being about dollars and start being about values. What kind of life you are actually trying to build. If you skip this part, you can hit a higher level on paper and still feel weirdly empty, stressed, or jealous of people who spend more. A strange but real finding from happiness research is that once basic needs and a bit of comfort are covered, more money adds less and less happiness unless it matches your values. That means an extra trip, gadget, or upgrade only feels good for a short time. But time freedom, low stress, and strong relationships keep paying you back emotionally for years. So ask yourself 3 simple questions. What do I want my days to look like? What do I want my money to protect? And what do I want my money to make possible? Write those down in plain language, no fancy vision board, just real sentences you can actually live by. From here on, every financial move gets a filter. Does this pull me toward that life or push me away from it? If you are willing to start using that filter, type values in the comments so you and I both know you are done chasing someone else's version of wealth. There is one more mental trap that keeps people stuck on level 3, thinking they are behind instead of thinking they are in training. Behind creates shame and panic. In training creates focus and patience. And those two mindsets lead to completely different money choices. When you believe you are behind, you chase lottery tickets, hot stock tips, and risky shortcuts because you feel like you have to catch up fast. When you see yourself as in training, you build skills, systems, and habits, knowing that even small improvements compound into big results over a decade. Research on long-term savers shows that consistency beats timing almost every time. People who simply stay in the game usually end up ahead of those who jump in and out. That means your real advantage is not genius moves. It is refusing to quit on the boring good moves when life gets noisy. So give yourself some grace for past mistakes. You were doing the best you knew with the information and stress you had. Every choice you make with money is really two choices. What you say yes to and what you quietly say no to in the background. That hidden no is called opportunity cost, and once you start seeing it, your decisions get a lot sharper fast. If you spend $200 a month on random takeout, you are not just buying food. You are saying no to $2,400 a year that could be killing debt or buying assets. If you finance a car for 8 years, you are not just buying a ride. You are saying no to all the investing you could have done with that payment for almost a decade. One study of household budgets found that even small recurring lifestyle expenses, subscriptions, takeout, upgrades often add up to 10 to 20% of take-home pay that could have gone to savings or debt payoff. Over 10 years, that difference can mean tens of thousands of dollars in either freedom or stress, depending on which way you pushed it. So here is the simple rule. Before a big purchase, ask, if I do this, what am I giving up? Both this year and 10 years from now. If that question stings a little, good. It means you are finally seeing the real trade, not just a shiny object in front of you. Now that you know the levels and the levers, you also need to know how people fall backward, because it happens all the time. Most setbacks are not bad luck. They are the same handful of patterns, ignored for too long, showing up again and again. One common pattern is lifestyle creep. Every raise turns into a nicer car, bigger place, or more subscriptions instead of a bigger gap. Data on household spending shows that as income rises, many people increase discretionary spending almost one for one, which is why their net worth barely moves even after years of pay raises. Another pattern is silent debt. Buy now, pay later, store cards, small loans, which feel harmless alone but stack into a heavy monthly payment wall. People often underestimate how many separate obligations they have until a shock hits, job loss, medical bill, and they suddenly cannot keep all the plates spinning. The third pattern is irregular attention, only looking at finances when something hurts, a declined card, an overdraft, a scary bill. If you recognize even one of these in your own life, you are not broken, you are normal, and that means you can fix it with steady attention and a few simple rules. Here's the part most people never reach, using the levels as a design tool, not just a scoreboard. Instead of asking, am I rich yet? You start asking, what level am I aiming for in this season of my life? And what does that actually look like day to day? For some people, the goal is solid level 4 or 5, security and flexibility. No drama, no panic, plenty of time for family and hobbies. For others, it is true independence or abundance. Level 6 or 7, where work is optional and money quietly supports big creative or community projects. The key is clarity. You pick a target level, then reverse engineer it. How much buffer, how much income, how much investing, and what timeline makes sense for you. You are not chasing someone else's mansion or sports car. You are building your version of enough that lets you sleep well and wake up excited. So tonight, write one sentence for your next level. I am building level X so I can. and fill in the real life you want, not the one the algorithm keeps selling. When you are ready, drop your target level in the comments, 4, 5, 6, or 7, so you publicly claim the rung you are climbing toward. You have just seen the whole ladder, from survival to abundance, and more importantly, you have seen that most people quietly stop on level 3 without ever realizing it. If you are still here, that already puts you in the small group who is willing to name their level, face the numbers, and do something different. The goal is not perfection, it is direction. A little more gap each year, a little more ownership, a little less stress when life throws a punch. Every level you climb buys you more choices, more time, and more protection, even if you never care about being rich in the social media sense. So your next move is simple. Pick your current level, pick your next level, and choose one concrete action this week that pushes you up even half a rung. More income, lower housing costs, less high-interest debt, tighter habits. Then repeat that process each month. Review where you are, adjust the plan, and keep nudging the numbers in your favor, even when it feels slow. If this breakdown of the 7 levels helped you see yourself more clearly, hit subscribe so you do not drift back into the comfort trap with everybody else.